Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
See Mobile Protect terms and conditions at Asurion.com/straight talk. Limitations and exclusions apply.
Why would I sell the car of my dreams for a food truck that wasn't? Or rattle off condiment combinations in my sleep? Extra mayo, all the mustard, ketchup on the side. I mean, when did an app become my favorite tool? Nothing personal, Spatula. It's because I wanted to make the best burger ever. And QuickBooks suite of tools helped me get there.
Intuit QuickBooks helps small businesses be more successful. Learn more at QuickBooks.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
If you've got a smart speaker, you've got us. Just say, play 96.9 The Game on iHeartRadio.
96.9 The Game, the home of the Knights. WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando.
Time to put the pedal to the floor. It's loud and live and local. Oh, time for open mic.
That is correct. We are loud, live, and local on this fine Wednesday morning with so many ways to listen to us. FM 96.9 The Game, AM 740, HD 101.1-2. You can listen on your smart speaker as well. You can also listen on the free iHeartRadio app. Just go to, find that anywhere you can get your apps, all right? You can also watch us on social media, on Twitter, on Twitch. We prefer you watch us on YouTube. You can go to the YouTube machine and search for the Open Mic live stream, and you will see our beautiful faces right there. You'll see me, Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel. You'll see Adam Reardon, the Deceptive Intellect, and of course you'll see Austin Pastoka, the man we call the Sultan of Sound.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Mike. Come watch us. Come take a look at the stash, and be sure to be listening around the sound-off time. It's about 7:15, because we got tickets! Orlando Magic taking on the Hawks tonight.
Yeah, we'll be giving those tickets away. Hopefully the Magic can get back in the win column tonight. They need to win desperately. We want to hear from you desperately as well. You can give us a call anytime during the course of the show, 407-916-8255. You can tweet us at 96.9 The Game. We also have a bunch of polls already up at 96.9 The Game. You can go vote on those as well. You can also text us on our Academy Sports and Outdoors text line. That's 50857. Guests this morning. We have our NASCAR insider, as we do every Wednesday, Buddy Pittman, although I forgot to remind him last night. Hopefully he remembers.
Man.
Yeah, Buddy Pittman will be at 7 a.m. this morning. I want to ask Buddy Pittman why the latest NASCAR winner, William Byron, why is he called William Byron? Why wouldn't he change his name to Billy Byron? That sounds like a NASCAR name. Billy Byron. William Byron sounds like a golfer. He needs to change his name to Billy Byron.
Yes, I'm too much of a gentleman. My name is William Byron.
William Byron the Third.
I don't celebrate my victories with that Bud Light, that stuff. No. I use only the finest champagnes.
No, I like a little warm goat's milk to celebrate my victories.
Yikes. Yes. Oh, even more hoity-toity than I even imagined.
Buddy Pittman, 7 a.m. UCF insider Brandon Hellwig will join us at 8:15 a.m. to talk about a story we're getting ready to talk about. But first, let's start the show with our open mic early morning inspirational quote of the day. From our favorite philosopher, the great Anonymous, who once said, and I quote, "People who wonder if the glass is half empty or full miss the point. The glass is refillable." End quote.
I would say that what he's saying is, if you are worried about the glass, whether or not things are going good or bad in this particular moment, you're missing the point. Those things can change, all right? And you have the ability to take that little glass over to the faucet, the spigot, the tap, or the highly priced Zephyr Hills machine, and fill it yourself.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. You can't complain about your
I don't fill my glass with water. I fill it with goat's milk.
Ugh. I love a good goat cheese, though. The little
I hate goat cheese.
What?
I hate anything that has to do with goats.
Why?
Because
so you don't like Tom Brady?
No, not that kind of. We used to have when I was growing up in Interlochen, we had a couple of goats, Igor and Natasha. All right, and they were the nastiest. In fact, Igor was anytime you'd walk into the fence, Igor would run after you and try to butt you. All right, and plus they were nasty creatures, and they would poop, and the poop would get in their fur. They were yeah. I don't like goats. And I hate goat cheese and I hate goat milk because of it.
Man, ouch.
Or barbecued goat.
Haven't
you guys ever
that.
had any barbecued goat?
I have.
Yeah?
Yep.
Is it good?
You like it?
I did like it. I was actually, I'll never forget it. I was at my best friend's house for Oscar De La Hoya versus Julio Cesar Chavez.
Nice.
And my buddy brought me over a taco, and I had it, and he said, "Do you like it?" And I said, "Yeah, it's good, man. It's good." He goes,
that's always
goat. That's goat.
Yeah. That's always dangerous when you just eat and they're like, "Hey, do you like it?"
That's how I discovered I like squid. I had calamari one time, a lemon over the top, dip it in this little marinara sauce, and hey, you like that? That's a squid.
Is calamari squid or octopus?
Squid.
Or can it be? It is?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Octopus is actually, if you love calamari and you've never tried octopus, grilled octopus, it's even better.
Yeah?
Oh, God, I love grilled octopuses. That's up there.
That's a delicacy.
Oh, yeah.
That's hoity-toity.
Man, you wash that down with a glass of goat's milk, Mike? Heaven on earth.
Speaking of goats, Gus Malzahn may already be the GOAT of UCF coaches. My God, is he getting it done in the transfer portal? All right, we've talked about how he's turning UCF into Auburn South. Well, now he really is, because yesterday, 4-star All-SEC Auburn defensive end, I don't even know how to say his first name. I should have looked this up. Markavist Big Cat Bryant. Can we look that up? Can we Google how to pronounce his first name? All right. We'll just do Big Cat Bryant for now, all right? I love a name. I love a guy who has a nickname, Big Cat, all right? Second team All-SEC performer. Last year, he's committed to join the UCF program as a graduate transfer. He announced that yesterday on social media. He's from Georgia. He's the third former Auburn player to announce plans to transfer to UCF. All three players coming out of high school were 4-star recruits. I don't even know if UCF has had 4-star recruits before. But, man, this guy is a get for Gus Malzahn. And, again, he's 6'5", 250 pounds. He announced in January that he was going to enter the transfer portal. He was believed to be headed to Oklahoma, but chose UCF instead, and wow, what a get for Gus Malzahn. He was part of Gus Malzahn's 2017 recruiting class, a class that finished number 9 in the nation, according to 247sports.com. And again, this guy was big time coming out of high school, and he proved it in college. So I don't know if there are any critics left of the Gus Malzahn hiring. We all know that there were a lot of members of the UCF Twitter Mafia who were criticizing the hire when it was first made because they wanted Jeff Lebby. All right, I think just about every critic now is gone. Would you guys agree?
Yeah, I mean, if you were critical of this hire beforehand, I mean, you got to just look at what it is that Gus Malzahn has done since he stepped foot on this campus, and you can't really point to a misstep. There's not one. I mean, even in a time where, national signing days are done and all this stuff, he's improving your roster each and every day, it feels like. And that's what you want from a head coach. Oh, by the way, you want him to, coach him up. But we talked touched a little bit on it yesterday, I think, about the billboards all over the state. So increasing the presence of UCF around the state. Listen, if you were critical of the hire, you'd have to sort of take the back off approach and go, okay, well, let's see what he does during the year. Okay, you got to be like that now. Yeah, that's the guy you got to be. Okay, well, let's see when toe meets leather. We'll just see when toe meets leather, because everything he's done before that.
Toe meets leather. That belongs in Mark Daniels' Beta Sports cliche bracket.
But that's going to be your only. At this point, if you were upset about the Gus Malzahn hire, if you refuse to give him credit for the things he's done, you're just going to be okay, well, let's just see it on the field, okay? If you think this guy's so good, let's see if he's got anything left in the tank calling plays.
Yeah. So, again, right now, Gus is undefeated because he's got some pretty good Auburn players, really good Auburn players, jumping on the Gus bus. Austin, do we have a pronunciation of Big Cat's first name?
This is from CBS 42, which covers Auburn, the Auburn Tigers. It's Markivist.
Markivist.
Yes. Markivist
Big Cat Bryant. All right. I was getting grief this morning. I do a little thing on WJR. I tape a little sports segment with them. All right, and we were talking about a story we're going to get to later. The University of Texas is having a controversy because of its alma mater. The Eyes of Texas was once performed in, how would you say these shows, back at the turn of the century, where white people painted their face in blackface. What are those shows called?
Is it vaudeville?
No, it starts with an M. Minstrel.
Mysterial?
How do you? No.
What'd you say?
No, is it minstrel? The minstrel show.
Minstrel show. Okay.
You guys know what that is, right?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought that was common perception. The minstrel show. I think I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah,
but
you're right. Minstrel show. Yeah.
But they on JRR they said I was pronouncing it like the female cycle, the monthly cycle. Okay.
Is that not spelled with an E?
It is, but. Aren't they? Don't they essentially sound the same?
Minstrel, yes. Yeah, I mean, they sound the same if you're blurting it real fast and you're not real convinced that that's the way you pronounce it. You're kind of blurring. Yeah. But no.
Anyway,
I mean, come on.
You're right, Mike.
Don't be so sophomoric over there, fellas. Come on.
Nice.
Right? Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. How do you pronounce Big Cat's name again?
Markivist.
Big Cat Bryant. A hell of a get for UCF. We actually have a supplemental poll on this, which I will read here momentarily, unless Austin has it up. Here we go. By persuading all SEC defensive end Markivist Big Cat Bryant to transfer from Auburn to UCF, has new coach Gus Malzahn won over all the critics of his hiring. You can go vote at 96.9 The Game on Twitter. Straight ahead, we have a spontaneous text question, and maybe we'll get to the Eyes of Texas controversy. That's next on Open Mic.
More Open Mic up next.
Cowardly, and wrong.
You know what's not wrong, Jimbo Fisher? AB From our text line, 50857, by the way, you can text in. How is Austin going to call himself the beer guy and allow this bracket on the show he produces? Sad.
I'm not the beer guy. I'm the alcohol guy.
You're cool, yeah, but you're sort of a beer snob, a beer aficionado. You like to drink the craft beers and the IPAs and stuff like that. And by the way, speaking of the beer bracket, which we put on the beer bracket, we put on popular beers, best-selling beers. That's what we did because, hey, if that's the best sell, if it's selling the most, that means people like it, in my opinion. Sort of like, TV ratings. If a lot of people are watching it, that means it's popular. So
Doesn't mean it's good.
That's right.
Just means it's popular.
Exactly.
Looking at you, all the Bachelor fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can go to 969thegame.com and look for our beer bracket because we want you to vote on that. In fact, we have a hot first round battle, which we've included in our polls, all right? It's Miller Lite versus Bud Light in the first round. I mean, those are two of the most popular beers in America, and they're going at it in the first round, so one of those will be eliminated. Might have been a seeding issue, the fact that those two are going at it in the first round, but they were in the domestic bracket.
Well,
so,
Miller Lite took some bad losses that they weren't expecting to take, and it really dropped them in their
during the pandemic. Yeah, Miller Lite's sort of like Duke right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pandemic has sort of set them back a little bit. So,
but they're ready for a strong tournament.
Yeah. All right, spontaneous text question of the day.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
Brought to you by a Hard Rock Hotel, Daytona Beach. I found the perfect beach getaway just an hour from downtown Orlando. You got to check these guys out at hardrockhotels.com/Daytona Beach. All right, it's National Cold Cuts Day. All right, very simple question. National Cold Cuts Day. What's your go-to cold cut? What's your go-to cold cut? Mine is, because I'm on, the no carb, trying to be relatively healthy diet. I go to Walmart and they have these big oversized packets of Oscar Mayer. Like yesterday, I got the Oscar Mayer, like the mesquite smoked turkey, and they have, the Oscar Mayer chipotle smoked chicken breast.
What?
So
the chipotle.
The what? Say that again.
Well, how do you say? What do you say?
No. Yeah, I want you to figure it out. Say it again.
Chipotle.
Chipotle. Yeah, that's where the L is.
You're missing. You thought that was a silent L in there.
How do you say it?
Chipotle.
No, I've never said it like that.
Clearly.
What about the restaurant chain?
Yeah, Chipotle.
Goodness. Oh my gosh. This hurts. No! Sound it out, Mike.
It's all right.
Chipotle. I know it's not English, but come on now.
I do like.
Well, those are my go-to cold cuts. What are you got?
I'm big on right now Publix. I don't know if you can get it elsewhere, but I get it from there. Boar's Head jerk turkey. It's turkey breast got that edge, when they season it. Oh man, nice and
too expensive. Boar's Head's too expensive for me.
$10.99 a pound.
Oh god, that's way too much.
Goodness,
that's way too much.
I can get 3 pounds at Walmart.
Not a jerk turkey. You can't.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, you get. Hey, you can see my big tub of turkey from Oscar Mayer from Walmart. That's a pound. I think it's a pound for five something. Yeah. So half price. Anyway, Austin.
Yeah, I'm a turkey guy, man. But I don't go for any of the honey roasted, or I don't
just straight turkey.
Straight turkey. That's all. Put it in an extreme wrap because it's high in fiber, and then have yourself a good day.
I thought you meant like when they were slicing it. Put it in an extreme wrap. I'm thinking, what kind of package is that? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I want it in tinfoil. That's my extreme wrap.
So what do you do? Like a lot of mayonnaise or mustard or something? You got to give it some flavor.
No. It's turkey, and then I'll throw some avocado in there, some roasted bell peppers,
Oh, okay.
and then wrap.
Yeah, well, I mean, you had to do something.
A tomato
because there's no
basil wrap, or a spinach and herbs.
I do like
extreme
those.
wrap.
I do like.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. By the way, real quick, text in 50857 your go-to cold cut. Some of you just texted in Boar's Head blazing buffalo chicken. That does sound good.
Boar's Head has like I was standing there in front of the thing actually yesterday.
You're just staring.
I'm staring at all the different flavored turkeys they have, and I go, man, if I ever hit it rich, I'm going to spend each week eating a different kind of turkey that they have.
Nice. That's what I want.
Just so I can know if any of this other stuff's really good. I like my jerk turkey, so I don't go away from it. I don't have $10.99 a pound just to throw away.
Okay, I'm gonna do something today. I'm gonna make an announcement today. I'm getting out of the stock market. All right, I've been dilly dallying with day trading. Yesterday, I took Adam Reardon's advice and bought one of his stocks. All right, and looked really good. The earnings report was coming out yesterday, so it was going up, and I was making money. And then after hours, it shot up. It shot up after like around, I don't know, it was about 4:15, 4:30. I'm like, God, can I sell this? How do you sell this right now? And I didn't know how to sell after hours. All right. And now it's back down. It's way down now. And I could have made a bundle on my 50 shares of whatever that stock was.
Wow.
Fizbo TV or what was it?
Fubo. So you just took my advice on what stock to get. You haven't looked into this company at all, Mike? You just know
I googled it. I googled it. Yeah.
Do you see what they're working on though? You see what they're working on?
I saw the gambling and the gambling.
Did you see where they already have agreements in place with Major League Baseball and the NBA?
Instant profits. I want winners and I want instant profits.
Man, who's the millennial now?
This thing is going to be a winner, no question about it. It's just whether or not it's going to happen on the timeline that you're hoping. But if you look at Roku and their success and kind of their track, that's the exact same track this one's following right now. And they have the added benefit of the gambling. And think about, and I was thinking about, because I was actually watching the earnings report. I mean, this is how into it I've gotten. I was watching the CEO yesterday talk about it, and then he made me think, advertisers, right? How their advertising revenue has jumped up 100 and something % over this past quarter. And when they get gambling, Mike, when's the last time you sat down and watched a baseball game? Probably forever, right?
Yeah.
But if you could bet on every single at bat, you're not leaving the television screen. And so every advertising thing that they put up...
some of my friends aren't, but I am.
Oh, well, maybe. I would say, yes, there are going to be a group of people. And I'm telling you, that is going to be an absolute game changer in the world of sports when you or I or anybody who so chooses could sit for, hey, the Gators have the ball. Are they going to run or pass here? I bet $2
is this a millionaire maker?
Yes.
Is this
Yes.
This is a millionaire maker with my 50? My 50 shares?
I don't know about millionaire from the 50 shares.
It's no GameStop.
Somebody yesterday, and the reason why the price dropped, right as it had reached its peak right there after hours, somebody dumped 270,000 shares. So that guy became a millionaire. If he made $5 a share off of that, that guy was a millionaire at that moment.
All right, straight ahead, our thought-provoking daily poll question. It's a good one today. We'll get to that next on Open Mic.
Bianchi's got to get a
where I am. And obviously, when I resigned, I knew it was going to be a process. I knew we weren't going to turn into a championship team right away. And so I'm happy where I am. And of course, I mean, it's unfortunate that we had all these injuries, that we have, two very important players for us, Markel and J.I., out for the season. So, it makes this season much more difficult than, if they were healthier, our goals would be much different. And I think we could achieve much more. So that's just, part of the journey. And sometimes unexpected things like that happen. But as far as how the process has been and, where we at, I think as a team, we're fully healthy. I think we are going to the right direction. But, obviously when you get in the court, it's different. But yeah, for now, I'm happy. Nothing has changed.
That was Orlando Magic All-Star Center Nikola Vucevic. When I asked him yesterday on our show, are you still happy playing for the Magic, or would you rather be on a championship contending team? And you heard what he said. We're going to debate this in a moment, but first from our text line, favorite cold cut, boar's head, honey baked maple ham and turkey. Ooh, that sounds good. Also, can't do it without Duke's mayo and Swiss cheese. I love me some Duke's mayo now. That's some good mayo right there.
I haven't had mayo in months.
There's only one application for mayo for me, and that's just a little bit of it to moisten up the tuna fish, to make a tuna fish sandwich. Other than that, no mayo for me.
Oh, I love mayo.
I've switched from using mayo to just smashing up avocados.
Ooh, so sounds good too.
That's the way I've made it a healthier option.
Well, I've got the olive oil mayo that doesn't have nearly as much fat in it. So.
Interesting.
Somebody else texts in cheap ass Oscar Mayer olive loaf. Can't go wrong with that. I love the olive loaf. The Publix Serrano ham. I don't know what that is.
Serrano's a pepper, so it's spicy.
It's spicy, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm impressed.
Keep those coming in 508. Yeah, keep those coming in 50857. All right, back to the Vooch comments. Here's the poll question. All right. The poll question is this. Orlando Magic All-Star Center Nikola Vucevic told Open Mic he is still happy to be playing for the Magic rather than a championship contender. Do you believe him? I do, actually. Now, what else is he going to say? All right, I understand that. I mean, he's not going to say, no, I'm unhappy here, all right? Nick Vucevic has been in Orlando now for 9 years, and I think Mark Daniels told me yesterday he's 200 games below 500 in those 9 years, right? So he's been a party to a bunch of miserable losing, especially the first 6 years in Orlando. But I think Nick Vucevic is one of these players who, again, he sort of grew up here. He was a rookie when he got traded here. He wasn't playing much for the 76ers. He was a rookie. He gets traded here. He grows up. He becomes an all-star. I think Nick Vucevic would rather try to win a championship in Orlando as the first option rather than be the fourth option on the Lakers and almost be assured of winning a championship. Just my opinion, but that's what I believe. I believe he's a different sort of player in that respect. Thoughts?
Well, my first thought is if he's just happy being here, and listen, there's no real pressure on him being the one guy, the number one here, there'd be more pressure on him being the third option in LA than there would be for him to be the first option here, because nobody here is accustomed to winning. And if he's comfortable with that, if he's more comfortable with that than going someplace that would require demand the kind of performances that he's been given, that he has been giving, I don't know. I just when I initially read the comments, I sort of questioned his competitive fire, if you will. I mean, in a broad, general sense. What athlete does not want to compete for a championship? Well, I mean, given the option,
he didn't say he didn't want to compete for a championship.
Given the option, if I said, "Hey, listen, you can play on this team and be the one," and you go to Disney World every weekend, your off seasons. I mean, you can do whatever you want because you're not in the playoffs. You got, I mean, you're 4 games in, then you're 4 games out. I mean, it's really a stress-free life. You don't really have to worry about the pressures of compete. I don't know many athletes, high-end athletes, that don't want that. That don't want that sort of pressure on themselves. They don't want to, look, he's done everything you can do in a place like Orlando. There's one thing he needs to do now in his career, which is go win a championship, compete for one. And he doesn't sound like he's necessarily that into it. That again, not a concern, but I think for me a little bit surprising from a really good NBA player.
Yeah, but what he said was, listen, if we were healthy and these guys weren't getting injured, maybe we would be more competitive. Maybe we would be able to compete for championships. And Nick Vucevic, 2 years ago, you said there was no pressure. 2 years ago in the playoffs, he stunk it up. He stunk it up in the playoffs, all right? And he was getting ripped afterwards as, this guy had a great regular season, but when it came crunch time in the playoffs, he can't get it done. Well, guess what? The next year, Nick Vucevic came out with on a mission, and last year during the playoffs, he was one of the, at least in the first round, since that's all the Magic lasted, he was one of the best players in the playoffs for that first round. So again,
but there's no pressure to win when you're in Orlando. Is there a pressure for him to put up the numbers we're used to? Yeah, but if he puts up his 22 points and his 9 rebounds, everybody will go home, and he doesn't have to worry about carrying this team to victory because nobody. I mean, it's just not. It's just different. I'm a little bit surprised.
There's no pressure for him to win. There's no pressure for him to perform in LA. There's pressure for LeBron.
Yes,
there's
from
pressure
LeBron.
for LeBron.
Listen, if you step into that locker room and they bring you in to help be a piece to the championship and you don't hold up your end of the deal, there is that pressure. He doesn't have that pressure. Who looks at Vooch in the locker room today and demands the higher level from him? Nobody, because they don't have a guy on the team like that. Certainly isn't the media. Certainly isn't the team.
If they were healthy, there'd be a lot of pressure on him. If Jonathan Isaac were playing, and Markelle Fultz were playing, and they were 13 and 18 or whatever their record is right now, and Vooch wasn't playing very well, there'd be a lot of pressure on him, and there'd be a lot of pressure on the entire team. There'd be a lot of pressure on Steve Clifford. Is there pressure now? No, because everybody says, well, how the hell are they supposed to compete when 3 of their top 5 players aren't even playing right now? So, anyway, go vote at 96.9 The Game or at the... I was going to say at The Game Jacks, but no. At 96.9 The Game. You can go vote on Twitter on this Nick Vucevic poll. Straight ahead, we're going to do a little front page of the internet. Also, have a story about the eyes of Texas I want to get to.
Whether you're drinking your morning coffee or sipping on a seltzer,
stuff, you see? It's the front page of the internet.
Welcome back to Open Mic. It is time for the front page of the internet this morning. We will start off on YouTube's trending page. We've got a couple topics that are a little more serious later on at the end, but we'll try and keep this a little lighthearted. Starting off on YouTube's trending page is the YouTuber Jacksepticeye is his name. Yep.
Septic guy?
Septic Eye.
Eye?
EYE.
Okay.
He's a video gamer. He's a gamer on YouTube, and he has learned how to speak fluent Korean. And so he decided he was going to shock a bunch of other gamers and just start speaking fluent Korean. Some of these gamers are actually Korean, and so in a live game, he just busts out fluent Korean and freaks people out. 1.6 million views. People love it.
I watch videos. I get caught on Facebook all the time of this one kind of nerdy white guy who goes into Chinatown and his like Mandarin is like perfect.
Yeah.
So he like starts by ordering and goes, "Hey, what's on special today?" And the employees are trying to explain to him, "Well, this is this," and then he busts out with like perfect, Mandarin Chinese, and you can. The look on the people in the restaurant when he speaks is just hilarious to watch. So yeah, I do get caught watching that kind of stuff.
I don't like Mandarin oranges, by the way.
Man.
Gosh, that was real dicey. Oh man, I didn't know where that was going. All right.
The Mandarin language is beautiful.
Yes.
Oranges?
Yeah.
Mandarin
orange is not good.
Not so great. Happy birthday today to marketing star, I guess, Phil Swift, the voice and the face of Flex Seal.
Okay, I don't know anything of what you just referred to.
You know what Flex Seal is, Mike?
No, what is that?
You know the infomercials where the guy like breaks or has a glass boat and then he breaks it and then he puts
tapes
Flex
it together?
Seal?
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's Phil Swift. He he puts an axe through a barrel and then smacks on Flex Seal.
Flex Seal tape.
Phil Swift. I'm gonna go. Phil Swift is 48.
Phil Swift is 50 years old and stinky rich.
He is 60 years old and probably filthy stinking rich.
I used Flex Seal once on a leak that we had around something in our roof, and it worked.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. Flex Seal. Adam Reardon approved.
I've got a roof story I'll tell you guys later. Yeah.
Okay. So trending on Twitter this morning is the viral TikTok that is supposedly Tom Cruise doing a magic trick, but it's not. It is what is called a deep fake. A computer system gets fed a whole bunch of Tom Cruise videos, and then it creates whatever you want it to be. And it looks and sounds just like a real Tom Cruise. People are very nervous about this technology, especially in terms of putting especially female actresses in awkward situations where, all of the leaks that have happened from iPhones and someone says, oh, they leaked their nude photos and it's not actually them. So a lot of people very worried about that. The deep
TMT, too much technology.
Too much
technology.
There you go. And then the other thing that has gone around Twitter this morning from the Houston Chronicle, March 1st, this was their headline. Houston is first city to record all major COVID strains, new study finds. That was it on March 1st. Their headline on March 2nd, Governor Greg Abbott lifts statewide mask order, opens Texas 100%. So a lot of people very frustrated with Governor Greg Abbott. Other people applauding the move. How do you guys feel about a state being 100% open, even though the pandemic isn't over?
No, I don't think we should be 100% open yet. Definitely not. No, we need to get this thing beaten. Not just. We don't just need to be over the hump. We need to be over the hump and back to normal before we go back to normal.
Not only do I think masks should be mandatory. I think they should be surgically implanted on all newborn faces.
Nice.
And to get into any public building, you must have your vaccine papers right away.
I was thinking about this. Yeah, I was thinking about this, though.
Please save your nasty text.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. Once the pandemic is over, when I travel on airplanes, because airplanes are full of just germs, period, all right? I might wear a mask in the future when I travel on airplanes.
I said this when this was going on. I said, listen, we are going to learn things that are better for us through this. When I go to a grocery store, never again will I be or accept somebody being in the vicinity of me where I can reach out and touch you. That's too close. Just wait in line. Wait behind me a little bit. I don't like when people are pushed up on me anymore. I like that freedom of space to move around. It's nice. I don't know.
Yeah, but the aisles get blocked and you can't get by.
You can get by. The ladies just got to let you by.
It's hard to get by. It's hard to get by.
Oh, you just got to be a decent human being. Like, oh, pardon me, and let the person through. People treat the world like a NASCAR race. They never want to let anybody in. They never want to let anybody by. It's like some kind of weird pride thing. I don't understand. Hey, I'm standing there in the way of the store. I'm like, oh, pardon me. And I take one step back. It's not that hard.
Is that the front page of the internet?
That is the front page of the internet.
Okay. All right, we're going to have Buddy Pittman, our NASCAR insider, in soon. But first, I want to get to this. All right, this is unbelievable. All right, so Creighton, which is a really good basketball program, their men's basketball coach, Greg McDermott, apologized yesterday for some racially insensitive comments he made to his players following a loss to Xavier last week. Here was his comments, all right? On February 27th, after an emotionally tough loss on the road, this is Greg McDermott talking, I addressed our student athletes and staff in the post-game locker room and used a terribly inappropriate analogy in making a point about staying together as a team despite the loss. Specifically, I said, guys, we got to stick together. We need both feet in. We need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anybody leave the plantation. All right? That's what he said. Then he said, I immediately recognized my egregious mistake and quickly addressed my use of such insensitive words with my team. I have never used that analogy and blah, 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 blah. All right, so he immediately apologized, all of that. All right, but why would you even say that?
No.
Huh?
No way.
Why would you even, you're a coach of a college basketball team. You know what's going on in this country right now, all right? Obviously, who would use that analogy? I don't get why he would even use that.
Dude, the foxhole. We're all in the foxhole together. You got to have my back. All this. There's so many you can choose. First of all, I've never heard the we can't have anybody leave the plantation analogy in sport ever in my life. And honestly, I was waiting for something, Mike, that I could go like, oh, I guess I could see how somebody could. No. You're coaching men's college basketball. I don't know what the makeup of Creighton is.
I'm sure
ethnically.
It's probably like most college basketball programs, 70 to 80% black players. I would think. Again, I don't know that to be a fact, so don't hold me to that. I could be wrong.
Well, I'm seeing how he was trying to make the analogy. I'm assuming. that he had at least a couple of African Americans on the team. We can't have anybody leave the plantation. Listen, I hate to break it to this guy, but when those guys were trying to leave the plantation, they were trying to go to something better, okay? It wasn't like they were,
I don't even know how you could make that mistake, especially in today's world. I don't know how you could make that mistake. If you're a college
he's had that in his back
coach.
pocket for a while and decided, okay, I'm gonna roll with this. It's like a comedian who's like been working on this joke and he's not sure if it'll play, and then he does it, and then he's like, oh god, that may have just cost me my career. I'll be honest, I'm shocked that all that we have right now is an apology for that. That to me
Well, the university also came out and said, "Hey, even though he apologized, his comments were deplorable." That was one of their comments. So we may not have heard the last of this story. All right, let's pause for station identification.
FM 96.9, The Game. WYGM Orlando. WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando. The home of the UCF Knights.
Through Legends cars. The East Series, the Truck Series, Xfinity, checkered flag. William Byron wins in Homestead, gets his second career win in his 111th start, and his team owner, Rick Hendrick, gets his 264th career win, 4 wins away from tying Petty Enterprises for the most ever.
My buddy.
Nobody knows NASCAR like our buddy does.
Hey there, buddy, chum, pal, friend, buddy, pal, chum, bud, friend, fella, brother, amigo, pal, buddy, friend, chummy, chum, pal.
Here's Orlando sports TV legend, Buddy Pittman.
Nobody knows more NASCAR than our friend Buddy Pittman. Buddy, you just heard the clip. Another surprise winner, although not as surprising as the first 2 weeks of the NASCAR circuit. William Byron prevails at Homestead for his second Cup victory of his career. Tell us a little bit about William Byron.
Well, this is a young man that people have had their eyes on for a long time, Mike. If you remember back, this is a guy who, when he first came into the series and to the National Series driving in the trucks, he made his mark very quickly right there. Went on to win the championship in 2016 in the Truck Series. He had 7 wins that year, and everyone has had their eye on this guy since then, and he is not disappointed. He's moved up through the Cup Series, had some growing pains like a lot of drivers do, but this past week, once again, stepped into the spotlight. His first win, by the way, came at Daytona last year in August, so he goes from there and now gets his second Cup Series win. You know, Jeff Gordon won 93 times in that number 24 car, and now William Byron is starting to make his mark with his second win there. And interesting fact here, though, Mike, the crew chief changed this year. He has a new crew chief. If you remember, Chad Knaus moved over last year and was his crew chief, and then Chad went into the management with Hendrick this year, and so they went out and hired a new guy. And the new guy they hired is a guy named Rudy Fugel. Now, Rudy has been around the sport a long time, but Rudy was the crew chief for William Byron when he won that Truck Series championship in those 7 races back in 2016. And when they were looking for a new guy, William Byron actually went to Hendrick and said, listen, I want Rudy. Rudy is the guy. And so they hired Rudy Fugel to come in as the crew chief, and it's evident that that chemistry is still there and still working, as in race 3 of the season of these two guys being together, they're already in victory lane.
Rudy. Were they chanting Rudy's name like the movie?
I'm sure they probably were in that victory celebration after.
All right, buddy, I have a suggestion. All right, William Byron. First of all, William Byron sounds like it should be a golfer. All right, William Byron. He needs to change his name to Billy Byron. Why doesn't he go by Billy Byron? That's a NASCAR name that people would gravitate to, not William Byron. Your thoughts?
Well, no, I agree with you. Those catchy names like the Double B, Billy Byron would be the way to do it. But, you know, actually, that topic was approached by William Byron himself back when he was first coming into the series. You know, he even asked, he says, you know, do I need a nickname? And he was told at the time by the folks at Hendricks, no, you earn your respect on the track. So if you like William Byron, then you stick with William Byron and let folks learn to love that name. You don't need a nickname. The names like Richard worked pretty good for Petty. David worked pretty good for Pearson. So you don't need to worry about a nickname. Just prove yourself on the track, and the rest will take care of itself.
Wow. So in that clip we played, it said Rick Hendrick Motorsports. Now, I don't remember how many victories that team has career-wise, but they're closing in on Petty Enterprises for most career victories by a NASCAR team. I'm curious, What happened to Petty Enterprises? They used to be a force, obviously, when Richard Petty was driving for him, and even his dad, Lee Petty. What happened to them? They just quit investing in the product, or these super teams came about?
Well, there's a little bit of both there, Mike. This was career win number 264 for Hendrick Motorsports, so 4 shy of tying Petty Motorsports. But through the years, back in the 60s and the 70s, Petty was one of the stronger organizations. They had the best factory support. They had a full-time focused organization on racing and winning. And so that's when they got a bunch of their wins. I mean, like you look back in the mid-60s, Petty won 27 races one season out of 48. In fact, won 10 in a row. So there were a lot of wins that built up during those early years, and Petty Enterprises was the strongest organization. But through the years, as you mentioned, Petty Enterprises now, as an ownership group without one of the Pettys in the car, they don't really spend as much on the program as they should, as much as they could, but it's a typical, one-car operation that gets out there and tries to compete with the big boys, hoping that they can be a factor, hoping they can put the right driver in there and get the right combination, but they just don't have. It's kind of like an underfunded team, so to speak. They just don't have the organization and the drive, so to speak, to be a championship contender. They don't invest the money back into the cars, into the equipment, and so that's why you see a number of drivers just continually passing through. I mean, it's prestige to drive for Petty Enterprises and Petty Motorsports, but at the same time, you have to realize that the equipment level and the competition level is not going to be there like it is at some of these other super teams that really come in and invest the time and the money and the effort into being a championship caliber team.
Buddy, would it have been different if Adam Petty, Richard Petty's grandson, had not passed away in a race car more than 20 years ago?
I believe it definitely would have. Such a sad story that Adam passed away in that accident in New Hampshire years ago. But I believe that, and this is a story that Kyle Petty even tells. Kyle Petty never really made his mark as a NASCAR driver because he really didn't want to be a NASCAR driver. Kyle wanted to be a country music singer. And so, but he found out that race car driving was a good way to make a good living and to get some popularity, and so that's where he went. But he never really was the driver that everyone expected to follow in the King's footsteps. And Kyle even tells the story that he was standing with his mom one day looking out the kitchen window at Richard talking to Adam out in the backyard. And Kyle even made the comment to his mother, he said, "That's the son that Richard never had." And so Adam Petty was going to be the legacy that was going to carry on the Petty name. And unfortunately, as you said, he passed away in that accident. And so I believe, just like you said, had Adam Petty been there and been the driver that everyone expected him to be and everyone that the driver that he had already shown that he could be, I think it would have been a different story at Petty Enterprises. But I think when that happened, that took a lot of the luster and a lot of the passion,
desire, maybe,
sport for the Petty family. Exactly. I think that was a turning point for Petty Enterprises right there.
Buddy, speaking of Kyle Petty, what's this? Denny Hamlin sounding off on something Kyle Petty said about Joe Gibbs. The veteran racers on Joe Gibbs better watch their backs as far as their job security. What's that about?
Well, I think that's just one. I think Kyle's just trying to stir things up, as a lot of these guys try to do. I think it's just, that's the type of comment that anybody can throw out there when you talk about job security, because they're always, everybody's looking for the next piece of sliced bread, so to speak, the next hot driver, the next one that's going to come along and make a name. And we're starting to see some of these younger drivers and different drivers like Christopher Bell. Of course, he drives for Joe Gibbs. And I think what he's referring to is some of these guys like, Martin Truex Jr. that's been around the sport for a while and has struggled a bit. Denny Hamlin, is, of course, a contender week in and week out. So I think you don't see any weaknesses in that Gibbs organization, which kind of surprised me that he would make a comment like that. Because most every week you got Kyle Busch, you got Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and Christopher Bell. You don't really see a weak link in that organization. But I think it was just a comment of throwing that out there. Let's see what sticks against the wall. And I think Kyle is just saying there's a lot of talented up and coming drivers coming. So some of these veterans who have been around the sport for a while, if you're not gonna show progress and you're not gonna be winning and consistently competitive, then look out, because there's some guys stacking up behind you that might be ready to take your job.
Buddy, last one. What do we have on tap this week?
Well, this week, Mike, we're heading out west to Las Vegas. And this is going to be one of those tracks where we're getting into that stretch now where we're going to probably start seeing some of the veterans like the Kevin Harvicks and the Joey Logano's and these type of guys start to find victory lane again. Over the next 3 weeks, we've got tracks that are going to really show the drivers who have the experience. Coming up in the next 3 weeks, we've got mile-and-a-half tracks that really are going to challenge these guys. They go to Atlanta again. And we've got Phoenix thrown in the middle of that there as well. So it's going to be an interesting week. Joey Logano's the defending race winner out there. Of course, each of the Busch brothers who are from Las Vegas, they've won there once each. Kyle Busch won back in 2009. Kurt Busch won last year just to get into the championship. But it's one of those tracks that's challenging for these guys, and you're going to see some guys like we've seen Michael McDowell. Now, there's two drivers who have finished in the top 10 in the first 3 races. One, Kevin Harvick, which is no surprise. But the other driver who was finished in the top 10 in all 3 of the first races is Daytona 500 winner Michael McDowell. Now, that has to be a surprise to a lot of folks, because here's this front row motorsports team that's underfunded, and they finished in the top 10 in the first 3 races. So hopefully that's the momentum that they need to keep going. Although this week it's not a good track for them. He has a average finish of like 33rd in 14 races at Las Vegas. So hopefully they'll be able to get over that hurdle this week. But should be a good week of racing, but it's going to be one of those where I think we're going to settle back into seeing some of the regular names that we're used to talking about in victory lane start to show up and start to rise to the top again, because we've had 3 different winners in 3 different races, and none of them are the guys that you would really have expected to be there. So that's going to shake up the playoff picture when we get to the end with only 16 drivers going to the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see, but Vegas should be a good challenge this weekend.
Nobody covers NASCAR like Buddy Pittman. We appreciate him joining us every Wednesday morning at this time. Buddy, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Mike, have a great week. Enjoyed it.
Straight ahead, the sound off coming your way on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back at
Sound Off brought to you by the Open Mic Battle of the Beers bracket. It's an NCAA tournament style bracket. We're trying to find the best beer, all right? So you can go vote right now at 969thegame.com. Happy bracketing to everybody. Austin?
Sound off. I mean, I know the outcome and my heart's still in my mouth when I see it. Was there any bit of you thinking, what do I do if this goes in the water?
Okay, first of all, I was not thinking at that moment. There was not a thought. It was, this seems like really fun to do. And not to mention, when you get your hands on one of those trophies, there are a lot of really sharp edges on the bottom, where the stand is. Obviously, the ball is what it is. And then I found out later that had that been an incomplete pass, that would have went down like 80 feet.
You're never seeing it.
Ooh, man. So that's Tom Brady on the Late Late Show with James Corden talking about the famous, infamous trophy toss. The one that we all know and love here in Tampa, and some people really hate. But Tom Brady says, I wasn't thinking, and explained more about how he imbibed a little bit. He was in a celebratory mood, all that sort of stuff. And it just... This seems like a different side of Tom Brady than we're used to. He's won Super Bowl after Super Bowl after Super Bowl, but we've never had stories like this, and we've never seen him on the late shows joking around near as much. So what do you make of this new Tom Brady?
I think the trophy toss and getting off of the boat, inebriated. I think that probably did more for Tom Brady's image as a regular guy. I mean, we always looked at Tom Brady as sort of the robotic quarterback who, focused on winning, always said the right thing, always did the right thing, and here he is throwing this trophy from one boat to another in an inebriated state. And I told you guys when it happened, if that trophy had hit the water, you don't know how deep it was going to go. 80 feet deep. We might have never seen that trophy again. It might have been swept out into the ocean by the undercurrent. And one thing Brady said that was funny, he goes, his 8-year-old daughter was actually the voice of reason during that whole thing, because if you watch the video, his daughter's saying, "No, Dad, no, don't do it." Yeah, so don't do it, Daddy.
I've obviously seen his career. He's had an unbelievable career. He's an incredible athlete, and what he's been able to accomplish, he's been a winner at every stage of his life. And that's not a coincidence. You're a winner because of the way that you work and because of the aura that you give off and because of the talent that you have. And I think that he has all of those things, and he's going to continue to win and continue to have success. And that's a part of the reason that I'm here. I told him yesterday in a text, I said, I'm here because I believe in you.
J.J. Watt talking about Kyler Murray and saying, the reason why I picked Arizona was because he believes that they are championship contenders.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
That's what he said. I mean, Adam, do you buy it?
No. That's the reason why he's if you wanted to pick a championship contender, I know that Green Bay was interested in him.
Yep.
How about Tampa Bay?
It was Tampa Bay. I didn't know if Tampa Bay was in the mix for it. But I know for a fact that Green Bay was. So if you're looking to compete for a championship,
Buffalo as well was in the running.
Buffalo, another one. So what does Arizona have that Green Bay and Buffalo don't have?
Bigger paycheck.
Good weather.
Good weather all year round. You don't have to play in the cold. His brother plays in Pittsburgh. They were interested in him. J.J. Watt.
Do you think he's soft? Are you saying he's soft and don't want to play in the cold weather? He's just a warm weather guy? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Whoa!
J.J. Watt soft.
I believe Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals are more prepared to win than Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers, Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Kyler Murray's pretty damn good now.
I just mentioned two guys that were in the conference championship games. So
I'd rather have Kyler Murray than Josh Allen. Let me just say that.
Oh, you're full of it.
Yeah.
You're saying Josh Allen was going to be an MVP candidate.
I think his relationship with DeAndre Hopkins, too, may have helped, too.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sound off!
I played against Carson in 2018, his first game back from his injury, and he played very well on it when he came back. I haven't seen too much film after that, but he was actually a pretty good quarterback when we played him, so we know what talented he is.
That's Darius Leonard talking about Carson Wentz joining the team, and he would later on to go saying that he hopes Wentz proves the haters all wrong. I don't know if he can at this point. I mean, he's gotta make a hell of a comeback. What do you think, Mike?
Well, I mean, Carson Wentz early in his career in Philly was pretty damn good. Again, when you have a change of scenery, sometimes that helps guys. The Colts are a really good team. They have a really good offensive line. They have a good running game with Jonathan Taylor. I think Carson Wentz can have a revitalization, a reanimation, if you will, in Indianapolis, because I think the Colts are a good team, and he's not going to have to do it all, because the Colts, again, they like to run the ball, play ball control. Hell, Phillip Rivers had success with the Colts at his age this past season.
Sound off. That's the sound off for today, which means give us a call, baby! Because at 407-916-8255, that's the number to call for your chance to win Orlando Magic tickets for tonight's game. That's right, tonight's game, Orlando Magic taking on the Atlanta Hawks tonight. You can listen to that game here on 96.9 The Game, or if it's not there, 104.5 The Beat. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. Mike, tell the beautiful people what's coming up next.
Well, the eyes of Texas recruits and players are on the Texas Longhorns for their alma mater. We'll talk about that next on Open Mic.
This is Markel.
There you have it. That is a barbershop quartet version, it sounds like, of the Eyes of Texas, which is the University of Texas Longhorns alma mater. And it's become quite controversial. All right. And the University of Texas president, Jay Harzell, has responded. This was yesterday, to a report in the Texas Tribune featuring emails sent to the school by boosters who are angry that football players were refusing to follow the tradition by singing the Eyes of Texas after Texas football games last season. The Tribune said that more than 300 emails sent to Harzell between June and October, 70% demanded the school keep playing the song, and about 75 emails included threats of financial retribution by donors if players didn't support the tradition. I'll read you one of the emails that the Texas president got. Quote, "My wife and I have given an endowment in excess of $1 million to athletics. This could very easily be rescinded if things don't drastically change around here." That was one of the emails. All right. So essentially threatened to pull his $1 million endowment. All right. The alma mater, the reason the alma mater is controversial is it was played early in the 20th century. 1903, it was performed in a minstrel show that featured blackface performers, white people in blackface. All right. So several Longhorn players said last season they would not sing it, but later agreed to stay on the field while it was being played. All right. So that's the controversy with the Texas alma mater. All right. The president, in a statement, said yesterday he was talking about the emails that the Texas Tribune got a hold of by a public records request. Quote, "People who target our students with hateful views do not represent the values of the Longhorn community, the Texas president said in a statement. A few extremist views in the sample of emails the Texas Tribune reported on do not speak for the 540,000 proud Longhorn alumni who actively support our students and university. Out of the many emails I received this fall, a very small number included comments that were truly abhorrent and hateful." And so that's what he said about that. All right. And I tend to believe that. I mean, some of the emails we get are vile and abhorrent too. We just don't read them on the air. Okay. So I can understand that, yeah, that the Texas Tribune is going to print the ones that are the most controversial. That's how it is in the media business. I understand that. They're not going to print some, they're not going to print some innocuous email. We support the school, So, again, this is the story. The question is, should Texas ditch this racially charged alma mater? Now, to guys like Earl Campbell, Ricky Williams, who are obviously very famous Texas football players who happen to be black, both of them won the Heisman Trophy, they support the Eyes of Texas. But there are some players who do not support it, obviously, because they don't want to sing it after the games are over. And I'm looking at the lyrics. We just played it. The eyes of Texas are upon you all the livelong day. It's sung to the tune of We've Been Working on the Railroad. The eyes of Texas are upon you all the livelong day. The eyes of Texas are upon you. You cannot get away. Do not think you can escape them at night or early in the morn. The eyes of Texas are upon you till Gabriel blows his horn. I guess Gabriel the angel they're talking about there.
I would assume so.
But anyway, the lyrics themselves don't, again, I don't take anything racist out of the lyrics themselves, but again, they were performed. The song was performed in a minstrel show back in 1903, and minstrel shows, by their very nature, were considered racist. All right.
Can I ask a question? Do we know when the song was written?
I don't know,
because
I don't know
written
that.
for the minstrel show.
Was it or was it performed
no, I think it was famous before the minstrel. I think it was I don't know if it was an old standard before the actual minstrel show. Like, there are a lot of songs that were performed in minstrel shows, and I only know this because I read up on minstrel shows this morning. All right. There were a lot of songs that were performed in minstrel shows that were actually their origin was they were sung by black people back in the days after the Civil War, before the Civil War. So they're actually, a bunch of these songs are traditionally black songs. I don't know if this happens to be one of them, but yeah, a bunch of these songs sung in the minstrel shows were actually old standards, I guess.
Because, Mike, as we were playing it, I obviously wasn't familiar with the song at all. I'm not from Texas. As I'm listening to it, the eyes of Texas are upon you. You can never get away. You can't escape. I forget the last lyric, until Gabriel blows his horn. Honestly. And again, I knew that we were going to be talking about it being a racially charged, so maybe my brain was already programmed to think this.
Do not think you can escape them at night or early morning. The eyes of Texas night or early in the morning.
To me, it sounds like a song saying, about slavery and how slaves couldn't escape because all of Texas was watching. You'll never get away. I mean, and maybe it's because I knew what we were going to talk about, and I started saying to myself, well, when I hear it, I'm going to see what could possibly be wrong with it.
Here's something from YouTube right here. I'm not YouTube. Here's something from, again, this is Wikipedia. Controversy is the subhead, all right? The lyrics of the song have been interpreted as embracing the, quote, lost cause ideology, which advocates the belief that the practice of slavery in the antebellum South was just and moral. Okay? So that is part of the controversy. I guess some people interpret the song that way, but again, this isn't my fight. I just know this, all right. And we have a poll question about this. Should Texas ditch this song? Texas has to make a decision here. All right. Yes, this is a traditional song, but like the Gators, was it last year?
Yes.
When the Gator Bait cheer.
Yep.
The Gator Bait cheer had some ugly racial, historical references to it. So you know what the Gators did? They said, "Listen, we're not going to endorse this cheer because, first of all, it has racial connotations. Second of all, it's bad for business. All right. So Texas has to decide. Hey, is playing this song important enough that it could cost us recruits? It could cost us hard feelings with our players. So that's what Texas has to decide. Again, if I don't know how many donors of Texas would actually leave the program if they stopped playing this song or changed the alma mater. I do know this, though, all right? If Texas isn't recruiting great players and they lose games, then donors are definitely going to leave the program, all right?
It's going to be hard to recruit new ones without a good winning football program, that's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a dilemma for the Texas Athletic Administration and the school because, again, when donors are threatening to pull their support, but the players are saying, hey, we don't want this song and we don't want to sing this song, you know what? The players shouldn't have to sing the song. If the band wants to play the song after the game and the donors want to sing along to it, fine. Why do the players have to be out there singing the song?
It's the tradition of the matter. Aren't you a proud Texas Longhorn?
I feel like that those guys have been watching the NBA and the NFL for the last 3 years going, yeah, you need to stand for this flag. You need to stand for this song. I mean, because I say so.
That's right.
Okay, but this isn't the national anthem. This isn't the
this
alma
is
mater.
my anthem, Mike.
To a Texas football fan, Mike, they wouldn't know the difference.
Well, Well, I do know this. I've been on the field at Gator games when the players sing the alma mater after the game. I think Urban Meyer actually started that tradition. And first of all, they have to put the words on the scoreboard. The players don't even know the words to the alma mater, or at least a lot of them.
How could they
don't.
not know the words to the song? Don't they respect Florida Gator Nation?
I don't know. No. I don't. I went to Florida. I don't know the words to the alma mater.
What?
All right. No.
Is that the We Are the Boys from?
No, that's not the alma mater. Yeah,
even I know the words to that song.
Yeah. I do know that one. All right, go vote on our Eyes of Texas poll and all of our other polls right now. You can go to @969 The Game and vote. You can also text us 50857 your thoughts, or you can give us a call 407-916-8255. We might even take some calls next segment. That's next on Open Mic.
Open Mic. We'll be back in a
glad our theme song isn't controversial. Welcome to Open Mic. Or welcome back to Open Mic, I should say. I'm Mike Bianchi, the Bulldog Sports columnist of the Orlando Sentinel, joined as always by Adam Reardon, the deceptive intellect, and Austin Pastolka, the Sultan of Sound. Yeah. Together we are Open Mic, the troika of sports talk radio excellence in the megalopolis we know as Central Florida. Give us a call, 407-916-8255. You can also go on our text line, 50854. All right? You can text us any thoughts.
Mike, that was wrong again. There it is.
50857. 50857. You can go and text us your thoughts as well. You can also tweet us at 96.9 The Game. We have a bunch of Twitter polls up right now we would like you to vote on at 96.9 The Game. We also have our beer bracket, all right? It's the battle of the beers here on Open Mic. It's an NCAA tournament-style beer bracket. We want you to go to our website, 969thegame.com, and vote on all of the matchups. And we have a hot first-round matchup between Bud Light and Miller Lite, two of the best-selling beers in America. They are going head-to-head in the first round. So go vote on that matchup and all the other beer matchups at 969thegame.com. Look for the beer bracket. All right. Spontaneous text question of the day.
Hey, there it is.
Spontaneous text question of the day.
It's National Cold Cut Day. We want your cold cut of choice. Mine is the big family-style package of Oscar Mayer. I'll just go the mesquite smoked turkey at Walmart. You can get a pound of it for like $5. Adam Reardon is a hoity-toity boar's head. What's the type of boar's head that you like?
It's jerk turkey.
Jerk turkey. Okay, so that's spicy.
Yeah.
Spicy jerk turkey. And Austin is, Austin, being from Nebraska, what are you, like a bologna guy? What are you again?
Oh, goodness, no, I'm a plain Jane turkey, thinly sliced. It's the condiments that make it great. The veggies and the wrap in it of itself. Not a huge cold cut guy.
Deli thin slice is like the worst thing in the world, though, because you can never get it like a full. You end up like with these shards. It becomes like pulled pork. It's like, except for like it's pulled turkey at that point.
All right, keep those coming in, 50857. All right, Lord Commander Charles, we were just talking about the Eyes of Texas and the controversy with the University of Texas Longhorns theme song. Lord Commander Charles, who is not a University of Texas Longhorn fan, he's a UCF fan, he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, but he is also a historian. That's his, I believe that's his trade. Lord Commander Charles, what's your history as a historian?
Well, I went to UCF for 10 years and got a few degrees in history. I do it as a profession. I take people on tours. I'm writing books. I have a YouTube channel where I take people to places where things happened. And, you know, history is what I live and breathe and do every day. I haven't even watched like a legit movie in a long time. I just watch, you know, documentaries or read books and stuff. I mean, that's literally all I do all day. And it has been absolute hell the last like 5 or 6 years as a historian, watching all of these things happen and having the actual professionals like me who understand the nuances of these things be left out of all discussions.
Okay.
So I want to
give us your thoughts on the Eyes of Texas and the nuances, please.
Oh, all right. So you have eisegesis and exegesis when you look at things, right? So eisegesis is when you read something into a text or into a situation. Exegesis is what you pull out of it, right? So instead of pulling out that, hey, the Eyes of Texas is racist, people are reading into this that it is racist because of, you know, the beginnings of this song. But if you look at a lot of things in America, then you could do the same thing. But it wasn't written as a kind of racist song. It has nothing to do with slavery at all, despite the words that you cannot get away. I mean, these are songs, it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek response to, you know, this is a folk tune, right? And so they just changed the words around to make it work for them. So it has nothing to do with slavery, and anybody that reads into it that it does have something to do with slavery is doing what we call eisegesis, meaning that you are looking for it, and you can go ahead and you can find it. A perfect example of this is our state flag. a little while ago, people tried to have it changed because they said it was a Confederate flag because it used the saltire, which is the cross, like the X, right? Scotland uses it. It's a device, right? But they didn't know that it was the flag of Spain, and that's why we chose it. That's why Alabama chose it. We chose to put our state seal in the middle of it. So people do this, and no one's talking to historians and actually saying this. And it's dangerous because you start misinterpreting history like this, like people that have no idea what they're talking about. And because we live in this culture where people are afraid to speak up, you can lose your job if you do so. That we're letting the people who don't have enough information kind of run this, and we go, oh, well, these people are feeling hurt for it. Well, rather than explaining to these people and having historians come in and talk to them and say these things and explaining, like, okay, look, this doesn't have anything to do with race. You have people like Ricky Williams that don't think it's a problem, you know, and that obviously didn't know it was a problem. The same thing with the Gator bait. Like that, the whole Gator bait thing was not even based in reality. It was based on an article that was written. It was kind of like a fake article, like a Florida Man type article, like, hey, look what they're doing down there. None of those incidents ever happened as far as like little children being Gator bait, but somebody went in and they found it and then they used it, and they're using the highly politically correct charge atmosphere to make something happen so they can feel empowered. And this is not based in historical fact. So I think that the people that are pulling their money out are right to do so, because we have to stand up to this. We have to start saying, look, this is not reality. Now Dixie, for Ole Miss, I can understand that, right? Dixie, it was the theme song for the Confederacy. So you can make a clear-cut, argument that this was something bad. If you have to write, my rule is this, if you have to write like a 3-page essay to explain to somebody why something is racist, it probably isn't, okay? If you say, hey, Dixie, oh yeah, the Confederates used to sing it before battle. All right, gotcha, right? So this right here needs to just be chucked away, and we need to tell these students, listen, you're not interpreting this correctly. If you feel bad, don't sing the song. Okay, to the donors that say we're going to pull money if the kids don't sing it, tell them to stick it, right? But have the band still play it. It's part of their tradition. It is not racist, right? It is just one of those songs that are there. If you want to go through the list of like songs that were quote unquote minstrel songs, we got to chuck out a lot of stuff, including Grand Old Flag and a whole bunch of things, because minstrel shows weren't necessarily. It was just kind of like it was like a vaudeville act. They sang all kinds of stuff like Dinah Blow Your Horn. That's where the tune comes from. They sang a lot of our stuff. She'll Be Coming Around the Mountain. Like all of these songs that we think of as, children's songs should be tossed out the window. And if you think that that's fine, I mean, I don't know what to do for you.
Well, Lord Commander Charles, thank you so much. Very, very informative call. Appreciate all of your insight and knowledge on that. That was good. That was good. I appreciate it. Again, you can agree or disagree with Charles' interpretation, but he obviously knows a lot more than I do. He knows a lot more than we do on the show about the history of the minstrel shows and the songs that we're sang. All right, let's pause for station identification.
WYGM Orlando, WJRR HD2 Cocoa Beach, Orlando. Facebook.com/969 The Game. You feel that?
I can feel it.
We're about to blast off.
Just hook it to my veins!
It's time for the blast.
That's right, it is time for the blast here on Open Mic, and the blast is brought to you by Frank Gay Services. If you need an electrician or a plumber and you need them right now, go to frankgayservices.com, and let me tell you, they are going to hook you up with the best of the best in electrician and plumbers. Let me tell you, frankgayservices.com. The blast today, let's start off with that topic that we were just talking about. Supplemental poll number 2, should the Texas Longhorns ditch their racially charged Eyes of Texas alma mater? Yes or no?
Well, again, again, you heard Charles' explanation of the song. I didn't see anything racist in the song when you read the lyrics. Now, Adam, I don't know what the term Charles used for Adam. It was some educational word that I can't recall right now. But he says if you go looking for racial undertones to certain things, yeah, maybe you can find it in that song. But Charles says it wasn't intended as a racial song. I don't think we should just go around changing history just because some people might think if you if you interpret it differently, that it could be a racist song. Here's what I'm practical, though, all right? If this is going to anger Texas's football players and recruits who think that this is a racial song, all right? If it's going to cost you recruits and cost you, your football team winning, then hell yeah, I'd get rid of it. Yeah, I would. If it's going to cost your football team the chance to be good, I would get rid of it.
So I've never been a guy who is in love with tradition. You know what I mean? Sometimes to me, tradition, it's only
gets in the way of progress.
Yes, I'm a big believer in that. So I've always felt like every 10 to 15 years, you should commission somebody to rewrite your school song. Like in Texas, Beyonce, she's from Texas. Get Beyonce to write a song for the next 10 years, and then 10 years, and then you change it. Something that the kids will enjoy.
Sort of like
singing.
logos, sort of like team logo.
Absolutely. So, so you're always sort of keeping up with the times, and nothing can be sort of look back and go, well, that was okay to say back then, but not today.
What about the donors that are going to pull their money?
Those guys are all dying. Those guys are all dying.
Nah, well, they're not dead yet.
They're not dead yet. But listen, you want to be progressive. In my opinion, college sports is a business, and like any other business, I think you should have, an eye and a half on the future, and then a half an eye on today. And so, yeah, I'm okay with changing the song or eliminating it.
I'm okay with it because it's not my battle, all right? But if it doesn't hurt recruiting, I wouldn't change it. If it's not going to hurt recruiting, I wouldn't change it.
67% of the vote says no, they should not ditch the alma mater. We'll go to the...
If it hurts recruiting, though, I would change it.
Thought-provoking daily poll time. The Orlando Magic All-Star Nikola Vucevic told us yesterday he is still happy to be playing for the Magic rather than championship contender. Do you believe him? Yes or no?
I do believe Vooch, and I realize that was the correct thing to say. Obviously, he's on an Orlando radio show with a bunch of Magic fans listening, and he said yes. I asked him the question, are you still happy with the Magic, or would you rather be playing for a championship contender right now? And he said, I'm still happy in Orlando. Obviously, I wish we didn't have all the injuries we've had, or we might be a contender, but no, I believe Vooch. I believe Vooch has some loyalty to Orlando. This is where he sort of grew up as an NBA player. This is where he became an NBA All-Star. I think Vooch is one of those guys who's a builder, all right? He would rather try to help build a championship in Orlando than go ride LeBron's coattails out in L.A. and win a championship that way. So I admire Vooch for his stance.
Listen, isn't this the guy who wanted to invite Tom Brady to some sort of front courtside seats and all kinds of stuff? Tom Brady would never have that attitude, Vooch. Otherwise, he'd have stayed. He would have stayed in New England, and he just wanted to rebuild that program. He wanted to go to a contender.
No, he wanted a challenge. Tom Brady wanted a challenge.
No, he wanted to go to a place that could contend for a championship right away. Vooch, you should take the lead of your hero, your GOAT.
Yeah.
And go somewhere where you can compete for a championship. I'm not saying you don't have to go to L.A., but go to Milwaukee or something, or one of these other teams.
See, but I disagree with what you said earlier. You said earlier that Vooch wanting to stay in Orlando makes him less of a competitor, essentially. Less of a competitor than if he wanted the demands of going to L.A. and winning a championship. I think it makes him more of a competitor, not to want to ride the coattails of LeBron James to win a championship.
He wants to win one
the old-fashioned way. Win one the old-fashioned way. Build it. Don't buy it.
Well, you're no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm just saying.
55% of the vote says, yes, we believe Vooch. Of course we do.
Want to believe Vooch.
Supplemental poll number 1, by persuading all SEC defensive end Marquise Big Cat Bryant to transfer from Auburn to UCF, has new coach Gus Malzahn won over all the critics of his hiring? Yes or no?
I hope so, for crying out loud. Everything Gus Malzahn has done so far has been amazing, and I realize that they haven't played a game yet, but he's getting 4-star all SEC performers like Big Cat Bryant to transfer to UCF, I would think every member of the UCF Twitter Mafia that was criticizing this hire when it was made a few weeks ago, I would think that every one of them right now is squarely on board the Gus bus.
You can only win the games you play. And up until this point, whether it's transfer portal recruiting, whether it's getting the fan base excited with season ticket sales, whether it's filling out your staff with quality coaches, the guy's 3-0. He's undefeated right now in the offseason. So you can only do the things that you can do now, and he's done them all well. So if you're a UCF fan, you hope that this guy can still be one of the best play callers in college football, because if he is, and you get to the field with that guy and all the other things he's done and put together here, could be a pretty good year.
With 69% of the vote, nice, yes wins this one. Supplemental poll number 3 in Open Mic's NCAA tournament-style beer bracket. Who should win the hotly contested first-round matchup between Miller Lite and Bud Light? And remember, you can vote on this matchup at 969thegame.com.
Why don't you go first on this one, Adam?
Well, seeing how I don't drink beer, actually, I'm one of those guys that's a sucker for marketing, and Bud Light has been so strong for so many years. I'm going to have to tip my cap to the ones that advertise the best. I'm going to go with Bud Light.
I love Bud Light, all right, but as you guys know, I am very health conscious, all right? And right now, I'm really in a health-conscious phase. And Miller Lite, I hate to say it, Bud Light, Miller Lite has less carbs. Miller Lite only has 3 carbs per 12-ounce can. Bud Light has 6.5 grams of carbs. Miller Lite also only has 97 calories. Bud Light has 110 calories. I'm going Miller Lite because I want to be healthy.
And I'm going Miller Lite because it tastes better. Simple enough. Okay. 51% of the vote says Miller Lite, but it's close.
That's an upset, right? That's an upset.
That is an upset. That would be an upset.
Bracket buster, baby!
By the way, you can go vote on all of those beer bracket challenges at 969thegame.com.
Supplemental poll number 4. What are you most intrigued about watching on TV tonight? All of these are new episodes or just happening now. There's My 600-Pound Life on TLC.
Oh, God.
What's that about? 600-pound people?
Yes, people who 600-plus pound people who are trying to get surgeries that would then allow them to lose even more weight.
I gotta go talk to that doctor. He's great.
Yes.
I love that guy. He's like,
you did not lose the weight.
Yes.
You are not putting in the work.
It is an incredible show. I think you should check it out.
That sounds interesting. Again, I've never heard of this, but it sounds intriguing to me. All right, go ahead.
There's AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite, Pro Wrestling in Jacksonville. There's The Real Housewives of New Jersey, a new new episode of that, and then Magic versus Hawks tonight.
I've never seen the Real Housewives shows. What are those about? Just
rich women.
Rich women who make problems out of nothing, and then talk about them on TV.
Oh my God, my Dolce & Gabbana glasses are broken. I'm gonna have to go with my Tom Fords.
I'm gonna go with again, I'm gonna choose a non-sports option. Obviously, I'll be watching the Magic. I won't be watching any of those others. But this is sort of an educational segment for me. I'm gonna go with the 600-pound, whatever that show was.
My 600-Pound Life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what's on our DVR for Wednesday. It used to be Catfish, but there's no more episodes because I get home late on Wednesday nights. So I'm probably in the 600-pound group. Yeah,
nice.
I'll watch that.
Magic versus Hawks wins this one with 57% of the vote, but with 23% of the vote in second place, it's AEW Dynamite.
Okay.
And finally, the Open Mic Would You Rather poll. Would you rather be a world-class tennis player or a world-class table tennis player?
This is. I mean, you've come up with some really boneheaded would you rather. I mean, who's going to vote table tennis player? Obviously, you're going to vote you'd rather be a world-class tennis player. That's a real sport, for crying out loud. Table tennis is an activity almost. All right,
It's an Olympic sport, Mike. You kidding me?
Yeah,
You're putting down those
Whatever.
Olympic athletes?
And plus, I mean, you can be a millionaire if you're a world-class tennis player. What do table tennis players make?
the money.
I'm
Mike Bianchi.
I
and
choose
like
tennis
money.
as well because, little known fact, I'm already a world-class table tennis player.
Ah, nice.
I was. I'll guarantee you, I can kill you in table tennis.
Ooh. Is this a challenge when Mike comes back into the office?
Oh, I mean,
We can
that's
find
probably a sport Mike was probably really good at back in the day. I mean, when you're 5'8" and stuff, I mean, there's a very limited sports you can compete at.
Thank you for giving me a couple.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for giving me a couple of inches there. I appreciate it.
No, I love playing. I love playing table tennis. My best friend just got a table. I went over there and played for the first time in like 3 years. It's so much fun.
My backhand smash will absolutely devastate you.
I don't know.
Devastate you.
My Asian infusion pen grip though.
Ooh, you hold the paddle funny, do you? Okay, all right.
91% of the vote says regular tennis.
Of course they do.
All right, right around the corner, we'll ask UCF Insider if there are any members of the UCF Twitter Mafia who are still critics of the Gus Malzahn hire after it was announced yesterday that the big cat's coming to Orlando. That's next on Open Mic. Open Mic, the best radio show in town. Isn't that right, Urban Meyer?
I think your facts are not surprisingly incorrect.
UCF, if the right guy ever got there and would stay there and build it, everybody else would be in trouble. I feel like I'm that right guy.
That was new UCF coach Gus Malzahn at his introductory news conference. And since that introductory news conference, Gus Malzahn has been hitting home run after home run. It was announced yesterday that a four-star all-SEC performer at Auburn, defensive end Markevis Big Cat Bryant, has transferred or is going to transfer to UCF, and that is a big get for Gus Malzahn. Let's welcome in Brandon Helwig. He is the editor, the publisher, the curator of UCFsports.com. You can read all of his analysis at that website. You can also follow him on Twitter at UCF Sports. Brandon Helwig, how are you this morning?
I am doing great, Mike.
How long has it been since you invented UCFsports.com, by the way?
Yeah, it's been about a little bit more than 20 years. It was kind of when the internet, started getting going, with sports websites and recruiting. And do you remember like Border Wars and Jamie Newberg and some of those early years? And there was a site called Rivals.com. They said, we want to put together a website for every college team in the nation. And I kind of had a blog about recruiting, basically just pulling updates I found, here and there from Bill Buchhalter and other places, just kind of compiling who UCF's commitments were. And I was in high school at the time, and someone found it from Rivals. They said, "Hey, you want to do a website for UCF? Do you want $1,000 signing bonus?" This was like 1999. I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
Wow,
and that's kind of how it got started.
So you were just a UCF fan at the time, or what?
Yeah. I was in high school, and that's kind of how it started. And they were just trying to find. They didn't care who they were finding. They just like, we needed someone to do a UCF site, and that was the only person they found. So that's kind of how I got my start, and that's kind of those early days of internet and message boards and recruiting coverage, and no one was really doing recruiting coverage back then. Interviews, really, no one was really doing that with people who were committing to schools, and it's just kind of grown and blossomed from there. So it's kind of sort of old a little bit that some of the guys that I was talking to and covering, they have sons now that are starting to be college age and be recruits themselves.
Wow, good for you. Good for you. Speaking of recruits and transfers and all of that, what's been the reaction on your message boards at UCFsports.com about the transfer of Auburn defensive end Markevis Big Cat Bryant, who announced yesterday he's coming to UCF? It was expected he might go to Oklahoma, but this is an all-SEC performer coming to UCF. What's this mean for the program?
I mean, this is huge. I mean, there's been a couple transfers, from Auburn, running back and wide receiver in the past week or so. But Big Cat Bryant, I mean, this was a guy that pretty much he could have gone about anywhere he wanted to. Initially, after leaving Auburn, after Gus was canned, he was going to go to Tennessee. Of course, this was under Jeremy Pruitt. This was like a day or two before, I guess everything fell out with whatever he was doing up at Tennessee in middle of January. But he was linked to Oklahoma. A lot of people thought he was going to go there, but obviously, he signed up to play at Auburn under Gus Malzahn. Had a great relationship with Gus. Had a great relationship with Travis Williams, who was at Auburn, is now going to be UCF's defensive coordinator. So, obviously he kind of, had a change of heart or kind of reconsidered, maybe instead of going to Norman, Oklahoma, just coming down the road. He's from Cordele, Georgia, not that too far away, and just playing his final year at UCF. But he's an impact player. I mean, for a UCF defense that struggled mightily last year, the only example I need to give is that UCF scored 49 points, I believe, and 800 yards in that game against Memphis. I mean, that sounds pretty good. I mean, that should have been a really big win. The only problem is the UCF defense gave up 700 yards. Okay, so that's kind of what was happening last year. And there was issues, there was opt-outs and what have you, and all that stuff, but he gives UCF an opposing presence on that defensive line, a defensive end. And one of the most important things, he was a team captain at Auburn. He wasn't just some guy that was there on the team, was good. Just, he has leadership qualities. So for, obviously, Gus and Travis Williams are trying to build this program. They have a guy that's worked with them. He was a leader at Auburn, obviously, performed on the field as an all SEC guy. So this is huge. I mean, some of these additions, I know everyone's ready to anoint Cincinnati, Kings of the American for the second straight year, but with how excited everyone on this current team is and some of the players they're bringing in, I think UCF may be taking some issue with that.
All right, Brandon, you interact with UCF fans probably more than anybody in the media on social media. We all know that the self-described UCF Twitter mafia, some of them were upset about the hiring of Gus Malzahn. They wanted Jeff Lebby. Some UCF players wanted Jeff Lebby. How has the reaction among the UCF Twitter mafia changed over the last few weeks since Gus Malzahn took over?
I think it took until that initial press conference. It has changed. I haven't seen anybody that's still on that Jeff Lebby bandwagon, which was kind of amazing because, when the word was surfacing out on that Sunday night that, an offer had been made, and who is it? Oh, it's Gus Malzahn. A lot of fans were just doom and gloom. Oh, we don't want this guy. He's washed up SEC. But, after hearing him talk and seeing how enthusiastic he is, how motivated and energized he is, and then seeing the staff he brought in, people are excited about that, and just how he's going to recruit, because that's the one area that obviously UCF's had tremendous success. Leary went to Fiesta Bowl, won it. Frost, the undefeated season, went back to New Year's Six under Heupel. Done a lot of great things with 3 different coaches. But the thing that I don't think has taken off as much as it possibly could have has been the recruiting aspect. That's the one area. I mean, they've recruited, decently well from time to time and all that stuff. But I've always thought they could recruit it better for, with where they're located in the middle of Florida. And, a lot of people are scratching their heads this past year. I know it was difficult because of COVID. No one could take visits, but UCF signed 21 players in their, incoming 2021 recruiting class. Of the 21 players, only 5 were from the state of Florida. I mean, maybe it just happened that way, but, that's something I think Gus recognized that because, he pretty much said it in his press conference. He's going to recruit Florida and recruit the, surrounding states like their hair is on fire. So with what we've been seeing from that aspect, I think people are incredibly excited. In fact, I think there's more, excitement in an off season heading into a season that maybe UCF has ever had. I mean, I know that's kind of difficult to say because we look at what happened after 2017, but, Frost had already left, and all that talk, going into 2018 was really more about what had just happened with Danny White and declaring a national championship, and, Paul Feinbaum losing his mind and putting the, putting the national champion sign on Bright House Stadium. So that was kind of, all that excitement, that offseason was basically based on what happened the year before. I think this is generally the most excited fans are going to be for an upcoming season.
Brandon, real quick, we have about 30 seconds. We all know that Dylan Gabriel, he was sort of lobbying for Jeff Lebby as well, got sort of passive-aggressive on Twitter when it was announced that Gus Malzahn was going to be the new head coach. Have you heard how Dylan Gabriel is now responding to Gus Malzahn?
He is on the Gus bus. He is in the front seat. He is ready to go. Yeah, you're right. He was on that Lebby bandwagon like a lot of fans were, and kind of didn't realize everything that goes into it. But he is excited. I've heard from multiple people who have spoken to him. He is on board. He's helping UCF recruit. He's trying to get transfers to come in. He is on board and very, very, very excited.
Brandon Helwig, you can find him on Twitter at UCF Sports. You can also read all of his stuff at UCFsports.com. Brandon, we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Mike.